Welcome to the channel. This is Clarity Empress, the Empress of Clarity, here to bring you another collective message. I get used to saying that. But this message today is about shadow work, right? So I like to sometimes I work off the cuff, right? I let spirit give me a download and it flows. But I kind of want to be very specific what I'm about to say. So I'm going to read to you what shadow work is. There's a lot of people, believe it or not, that still don't know what shadow work is. Shadow work is a process of exploring and accepting parts of yourself you may have repressed or ignored. It can help you develop self awareness, self acceptance, and compassion for yourself and for others, right? So, what is shadow work? The goal is to explore your unconsciousness, motivations, and develop self awareness. The benefits it can improve your self esteem, your relationships, and your well being. The techniques can include journaling, meditation, and active imagination. Okay, that's just some. It says, how does shadow work work? You can examine your behaviors when triggered. You can ask loved ones what aspects of yourself they find negative or hurtful. You can try to link your behavior to your childhood. You can try mirror work, where you repeat a trigger word in front of a mirror. Who can do shadow work? Anybody. Anyone can do shadow work on their own. If you're struggling with severe trauma, you should consider seeking a licensed therapist. So, what is the shadow self? The shadow self is part of your psyche that you keep hidden, such as trauma and resentment. The shadow self can include negative impulses, but it can also include positive impulses such as creativity. So, in the meantime, like, share, and subscribe to Empress of Clarity. And make sure you hit that the bell so you're notified every time I come on. Okay. Um, in 2022. Around Thanksgiving in 2022, I sat down and wrote a shadow work journal. Um, I'll probably put a picture of it in the thumbnail, but it's called the Do It Your Damn Self Shadow Work book. And it has 45 prompts, a couple grounding techniques, some information for help if you need it, like helplines and things like that. But the purpose and intent of writing that shadow work journal was because I have many clients, and one of the main things I feel across the client spectrum is a lack of self awareness. Many people come to me with a pain, sometimes an indescribable pain, because it's a compilation of multiple things that has happened to them. It's trauma, it's neglect, it's bad romances, bad family situations, right? And I kind of work with them to kind of get to the root of it, right? And then my goal is to redirect people to what kind of help may work for them, right? I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't do prescriptions. But what I do know as a practitioner, as an oracle, is that there's always a root to your problem. And many people don't often see or want to see what the root of their problem is. So, for example, if you're people pleasing or oversharing, that's usually rooted in not being heard. So, you say what you say or you do what you do to be seen, to be heard, to be picked. Um, if a person is having a problem with a romantic partner, but it seems to be a pattern with whether it's that person, it's somebody else. The root cause may be childhood wounds from a parent, maybe a mother or a father treated that person a certain way, which caused them to feel neglected. So in their relationships, they always want to be seen and they always want to be heard. There used to be a saying, well, it's probably still a saying where people say, people attract what they, um, the same person. It's not so much just about attracting the same person, it's being in the proximity of somebody familiar until they have a familiar, they might be somewhat like your parent, but you didn't quite pick up on what it is. And then maybe later down the line, they're the same type of abusive as your parent, right? There's something in common with that particular parent. So we tend to do that. We are creatures of comfort as humans. So what we may be familiar with is typically what we're going to gravitate to. And what shadow work will do, it will assist you in uncovering the why, your why, your why. Even though you may feel like, this person did this to me, this person hurt me, I don't understand why this keep happening, things like that. Then you have to pause. What's the common denominator? You, right? And why do you either accept it, return to it, or it repeat itself in different relationships? Shadow work will help you link where the why is so that you could work on why. Maybe stop the why. Maybe um face it. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't want to face themselves. They don't want to acknowledge they could possibly be wrong. That we're all not perfect. That we can learn from one another and that we need help sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Also, that we need to change. We need to grow. We're not supposed to stay the same. We're not. And a lot of us get stuck in our trauma and the triggers that are so easy. I explained this in another video in the past. A lot of times, no, not a lot of times. How do I want to phrase this? Triggers to me are a remote control meaning like if you know how to trigger me, then you pretty much know how to control me. So you could just, I don't have it around me. You could just pick up the remote control in my life and be like, "Oh, you don't like that? Do let me see how you do when I hit that button, right?" Mind you, and then next thing you know, I'm going off. I'm going off. Once I start to realize that people know what buttons to hit just to make me tick, it put a whole different perspective on allowing people to trigger me. It had me delve more into the rabbit hole of shadow work because it doesn't end. It's a good thing, but it doesn't end, right? Because we never know what could resurface, what could surface we haven't done dealing with. But it is such a healing way of examining ourselves. In the shadow work book that I wrote, Do It Your Damn Self, two of the different prompts is, what do I define as success? And what do I define as failure? Like, what does it mean to me, really? And either one, what does it mean to me? What does it mean to fail? You know, some people put tangible, well, I lost a job or I failed a class or, something like that. We tend to attach our success and our failures to tangible things. But what does it mean deep down inside? How will I have failed as a human or as a person or a sister or a daughter or a mother? What do I determine as failure for me? What are the reasons would make me say I'm a failure? And conversely, what are the reasons that make me feel successful? What pain am I holding on to that I have not addressed? And if I could address it, how and who would I address that to? So, one of the things we know is that when we are children, we're not responsible for what is done to us, right? People, adults that do things will make us feel responsible. You shouldn't have did that, or you made me do this. You made me do. No, no, no. We as children don't make adults do anything. Adults have to have control over their well-being, over their um actions, right? But when we become adults, the roles shift when it comes to us, and now we're responsible for our own actions. So now we're responsible for our trauma in a different way because we're responsible not to be hurt people who go and hurt other people. Our goal is supposed to heal. Now, sometimes though, we have very good natured people who come out of very traumatic circumstances, yet they continue to hurt themselves. Shadow work also helps to tap in. It helps you to tap in and understand, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I allowing myself to be hurt over and over again? Why am I accepting lies from people? Why am I people pleasing? Why am I, you know, spiraling? Why am I addicted to substances? All of those things have a root cause. And the problem is, we can't let people outside of us determine what that is. So, for example, two siblings that live in a home where there is, I don't know, favoritism. Let's just put it that way, as something mild, but still harmful. Favoritism could result in one child being praised and being successful financially and doing great. And it could result in the other child feeling left behind, feeling ignored, feeling like they can't cope because they can't get their parents um, either love, attention, or respect. So, those things can happen in the same household, but everybody's perception is different. But the results are also different. So there's lots of times where a sibling is like, "Oh, we didn't have it that bad," whereas that sibling's perception is different. How they were treated, whether if the parents had favoritism. So ultimately, when you do shadow work, you're doing it for you, right? You're doing it for, well, what's my responsibility to myself? What is it that makes me me? You know, Regardless of how my siblings, were taught or felt that our lives were, how did I respond? What happened to me? What traumatized me? You know, I have a friend who, revealed to me uh the reason why they were gay is because they were accosted when they were younger by another relative, right? And I would say when that relative had access to them. So on a repeat basis, maybe not daily or anything like that, but when they had access, right? And he was very brave because he finally recognized for him his reasons, his why, and he was able to confront his father, who was the one who left him with that relative. And he stuck up for himself. That shadow came out. Your shadow can protect you. Some people think I'm supposed to throw away any negative behaviors, but no. Everything that society perceives as negative doesn't have to be actually negative, right? I have a potty mouth. I do. I can cuss like a sailor, especially if I get mad. Not always though, because again, I always don't want someone to trigger me into that language. But if I feel threatened, that may come out. Like if I feel like I might be in bodily harm, that may come out before something else comes. You know what I'm saying? So, my shadow will come to back you off because what are you doing? And that's my anger. I had to understand that anger can be a healthy um emotion. Shadow work helped me understand that. I didn't know that before. Sometimes I thought, some people have anger issues. I ain't gonna lie. Some people have anger issues where they're angry about everything. That is not the healthy anger I'm talking about. The anger that when you know someone is disrespecting you, without a shadow of a doubt, um, something is just wrong. Like there's no justice in it. That's a healthy form of anger. And when you unpack your shadow, you'll start to understand, why does my body react that way? Sometimes our bodies react before our minds, before we can formulate the words to describe what we're feeling. Sometimes the body is the first thing to know. So again, the shadow work book, and mine is not the only one out there, but I have to learn selfish, no, what they call selfless, no, I have to learn self promotion, right? I really do. I'm working on that in 2025. I have to self promote. I have to remember that I'm pretty damn good. You know, I don't know where, for me, I'm still unpacking where I like to play the background comes from. It's in my horoscope, but I'm not always front and center. Doing this has been a big deal for me, but I think tarot brought it out, gave me that confidence to come forward. I'm good with small audiences. This to me is a broader stage because anybody could see me, right? I don't know what that is, but I don't know. It's maybe my boundaries and protection and things like that. I don't know. Those are aspects of myself I'm working on. But the shadow work book is really to help you find you. Shadow work may help you find your purpose. Work um may help you in relationships that have expired, where you realize that you have not been treated fairly, or kindly or respectfully, you know, whether they're family, whether they're friends, lovers, it may help you understand rather, that if you want respect, you have to demand your respect. And it doesn't have to be in a nasty, you know, controlling way. It's just, oh, you don't want to respect me? Then I can't give you no more time or energy or whatever. Shadow work helps your self worth. You start to realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm worth more than that. Like when you go for that raise and you start contemplating all the reasons why you deserve higher pay, it will be so much harder for your employer to come back with an excuse because you've already calculated and you're standing on it. Shadow work will help you understand that if your partner is not giving into the connection and you're doing all the labor, the emotional labor to keep y'all together, it'll have you reevaluating that relationship. And it also will help you open up your throat chakra to say, you know what? I don't feel valued this way. I feel like I'm doing too much and maybe I should stop doing too much because we're not giving or taking equally. There's no exchange here. Bump 50-50. I need 100% because I'm giving 150, at least 100. Meet me somewhere. You know what I mean? Shadow work will have you really uh thinking hard because you having a conversation with yourself that one is not shameful because you're talking to you. Some people still find shame, I ain't gonna lie, but ultimately you talking to you, so you can only judge you. And then you unpack it and you say, wait a minute, here's where I'm leaking my power. Here's where my strengths are. Here's where I'm weak at. And how can I improve? How do I balance that out? Shadow work is a necessity, a growth necessity. When you are self aware, you're able to take accountability for your actions. You're able to make amends or fix things or reconcile with situations and people. But when you don't put in the effort for your shadow, you can be aimless. You can be lost on your journey. Cause you don't know when you're right. You don't know how to read the room. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to account for things. You're not aware. And a lot of people who have childhood trauma are less aware of things based on the way they were raised. And some are very heightened, very, very much like empathic rather. They really have this, it's not a sense. It is a sense, but I mean, hyper aware. That's the best word to put it. Hyper aware of the nuances of people's moods and things, especially if they came from an abusive home. But the problem is when you're hyper aware of everyone else's and you're trying to accommodate everyone else's, what happens when you need accommodation? Some people isolate, and that's cool, but what did you learn during isolation? If you're going to isolate, why not work on yourself? Why not say, well, what triggered that right now? Why did I react that way when this person did that? Why did it hurt? Or why did it make me feel? Why did I run? What are the things that are triggering me to do certain things in my environment? When you work on your shadow, the whole world about you opens up. And you can get clearer and clearer. Now, I will say this, a side effect of working on your shadow, you're gonna piss some people off because you're not gonna be the same. People who are used to you doing certain things a certain way and liking that about you because you're controlled or you are consistent in that way will not like the new you. Oh no. They will not be prepared for who you have become. And you have to be okay with that because that is okay. It's okay. We're supposed to change. A person who's in their 20, no, I'm sorry, a person in their 40s should not think the same way as when they were in their 20s. That means they wasted 20 years because they didn't grow. I change daily. I get an opinion on something and a new information comes out and I'm like, well, you know what? That's something to consider. Maybe I could change my stance. I can't tell you how many people in my life have been baffled and confused by the fact that my mind has changed from the last time they talked to me because of whatever I thought. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I change? Who said that I had to be stuck in that past date the last time we spoke? Shadow work will help you work through that for yourself. And it don't matter what they think you have changed or you have not changed. All that matters is how you feel about yourself. Do you feel healthier? Do you feel mentally well, more balanced, more whole, more confident in who you are and what you are? You know, everyone is not meant to be extroverted. Everyone is not meant to be in the front in the spotlight with lots of fans and friends and followers and subscribers. Everybody's not meant for that life. Everybody does not have that want or desire. Some people are very introverted. They like home. They don't like going out. And when you do your shadow, you start to realize, oh, I'm comfortable with that. And then when you get more comfortable with yourself, your no becomes no. No, I don't want to do that. That I'm not comfortable with that. Why? Because I don't want to. No. And you no is a full sentence. And you get rid of the people pleasing of, well, I'll just go this time. No, I don't want to go. I'm not going. I'm not. But you get balance too. So you don't just say no just for the sake of saying no. You know your reasons. You start to understand why am I not comfortable? Like, let's just say, you know, your cousin invites everyone over Thanksgiving and you realize you don't like this cousin. Matter of fact, it's quite a few members of that family you don't you don't particularly care for. So guess what? No, I think I'll have Thanksgiving at home. And you might have some family members, maybe even your mother or your father. Why aren't you going? Everybody's going to be there. Because I don't want to be there. I think I want to do it here, where I'm at. And I'm okay with missing out on everybody being over there. I'm okay with it. Anybody want to visit? They know where I'm at. That no, because becomes so comfortable, you wear it like a little cozy blanket. No. And you feel so good. The other no you can be comfortable with is in relationships where somebody's always trying to take and you finally stop giving. That no, it's like after you've cried your last tear about the relationship and you've decided this may not be for me. I think I'm good with letting it go. And I'm just going to have to say no from now on because it's just not good for me. That no is a whole different level of comfort because now you realize how strong you are from someone who knew how to trigger your heart space, or they triggered your childhood wounds. I had somebody in my life triggered my childhood wounds because they resembled my what I would call father abandonment issues, which I don't know if he was an abandonment situation because I knew him when I entered. Well, I would say I have a father that don't take accountability well, and this person did not take accountability well, and that caused a problem for me because they lied a lot. But it reminded me a lot of that same feeling I would get when my father disappointed me. So I don't know if it was I can't say it's abandonment, but it's some type of wound that resonates on my father's side through my father rather. I also am aware that my father did not have his father actively in his life, so he also wasn't prepared by a father to be a father. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a lineage. And when you start looking at your shadow, you start looking down that family tree. You start looking at why this might be like this, why this person might have done that. The why. You start looking at their why and how their why impacted you and what is your why now. Are you going to continue that cycle? Are you going to perpetuate that learned experience? Or are you going to decide to grow, to change, to heal, to be a happier version of yourself? Whatever that means for you. So, take it how it resonates. If it don't resonate, I always say that, then don't take it. But the shadow work is a very integral part of our development as people. If we don't if we're never self-aware, we don't we probably would be labeled as completely narcissistic because if we're just out here in the world existing, not caring about how we impact other people as well as how we impact ourselves, when then we have no accountability, then we have no respect, then we're missing a lot, a lot. And then we get labeled, and then we get treated as such, and then we wonder why. I don't know why this happens to me. So, growth and development are key to our lives. No matter what point in time you find shadow work, you can be 70 years old. Your heart's still ticking you 10 toes down. It ain't never too late. 90 years old, it ain't never too late. So, anyway, again, thank you for coming to the channel. Please subscribe, hit the subscription button. You'll see it on the right side of your screen at the bottom. You click that, it'll take you to subscribe. Just go ahead and ring the bell, let you know when every time I upload or come on. I definitely appreciate you. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And thank you for your likes. Also, go ahead and check out my shadow work book on Amazon. Do it your damn self on Amazon. Is listed at $12.99 and ships. I think within like 2 days you'll get it. Within a week's time you'll have it, and you can get started. And join us back here for more. Peace.